Question I receive now is a girl in my village told me that God had told her that I am now hers. And I don't feel the same way, but she's controlling me a lot, giving me a lot of pressure. Do you think she is right and I should just be with her? Wow, that's a pretty interesting question. First, I wasn't sure if I wanted to respond to this, but I do think it's a good one. So I'm gonna give it a shot. First, people have tried to control others since the beginning of time. Not just in relationships, but like between guys and girls, but between generations, parents over their children, bosses to employees, teachers to students, and the list could go on and on and on. So I would say that people come from either a position of insecurity or being overbearing. And generally, those are the ones that really like to control others. There's a variety of reasons for it. For the insecure, maybe they want someone to be with them, perhaps so they're not alone. For the overbearing, maybe they love to have power over others in some sense. It might be someone that is simply too protective of the other person, that they care for them and they're just well-meaning. That might be with like parents and their children. But first, let me preface this by saying, first and foremost, that I never believe that it's ever appropriate for someone to exert control over another in the context of relationships. For example, sometimes it is appropriate. Parents must have control over their kids when they are young because they're responsible for them. Government officials have to have some control over populations to keep the peace. But what you're talking about here is very different. For someone to assert that God told them that you are theirs is, in my opinion, incredibly manipulative and very self-serving. And in that case, I would tell you that you ought to run as far away from that person as possible because that's completely inappropriate. Now, on a different level, I've experienced in some cultures, more specifically the Asian culture, parental control that, in my opinion, can go too far. Well-meaning, but goes too far. There must be a balance. It's one thing for a parent maybe to teach their kids that a good job is important for their future, but quite another to tell their child what profession they should be in and to exert pressure, for example, to become a doctor or a lawyer, maybe for status or for financial security, whatever the reason. I've known many doctors that do not like their profession. They just don't like it. They were told to do it, and that's why they did it. So I believe that's inappropriate. I believe it's critical for each person to really have their own autonomy, to choose their own destiny based on what he or she believes they have been called to. I'm always very, very careful to make sure never to assert pressure on someone to do what I think is best, rather than just to give them the free choice and provide some feedback, because otherwise it would be like me living vicariously through them. So not to say that it's great to offer advice, but one must temper that by never pressuring someone. So it's a great question, great topic. Hope this answers your question. Anyone else, if you have a question, feel free to send it to me and I will create a video response.